Ladies and gentlemen, from Talking Stick Resort Arena, Phoenix, Arizona, USA, Mr. Eddie Hearn for Matchroom Boxing USA is proud to present live on Dazn and Sky Sports Boxing our 12-round main event of the evening, sponsored by JD Sports and sanctioned by the Arizona Department of Gaming, Executive Director of Boxing, Francisco Meneses Jr. This contest dedicated to the memory of former super lightweight world champion Saul Mambi. The three judges scoring at ringside, Chris Flores, Robert Hecco, and Esther Lopez, and inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, referee Wes Melton. And now, the officials are in position and they are ready. The fighters are in the ring and they are ready. Fight fans, are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world from Phoenix, Arizona, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, in his corner with Hall of Fame trainer Freddie Roach, wearing blue with gold. His official weight, 172.7 pounds. In 55 professional fights, 51 victories, 33 big wins by knockout, only 3 defeats with 1 draw. He's the former Latino champion, former Continental Americas champion, former WBC silver champion, and the former WBC middleweight champion of the world, damas y caballeros de Culiacán, Sinaloa, Mexico, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner with his trainer, Farid Samad, wearing white with blue and officially weighing in at 167.7 pounds. As a professional in 38 fights, he has 35 victories, 29 big wins by knockout, only 3 losses. From Brooklyn, New York, USA, former NABO and NABF middleweight champion, former Continental Americas middleweight champion, and the former 2-time middleweight champion of the world, Daniel Miracle Man Jacobs.
Okay, fellas, it's a main event. Went over the rules in the dressing room. Check these trunks, these are good. From here down is gonna be good. Check these trunks, these are a little low. From here down, you're gonna be good. Just have a good, clean fight. Touch them up, bang at the bell.
On Wednesday, Chavez Jr. went to the gym with Freddie Roach. He looked Freddie in the eye and said, "I know this is my last chance." He says it, but will he fight like it?
Hall of Famer Freddie Roach in the corner. Hall of Fame dad standing nearby. But he's got to do the fighting, and he's facing a very motivated Daniel Jacobs here tonight. And we're underway in the main event. Big, boisterous crowd here in Phoenix.
And big opponent in front of Jacobs. Jacobs was a huge middleweight. We know Chavez Jr. was a big middleweight, but looking at them in front of each other, Chavez Jr. is still massive in there.
Yeah, one of the questions I had coming into this fight was, would Jacobs have enough power at super middleweight? He hasn't had a knockout really since he starched you, Sergio, so it's been a while.
Keep him up there by Chavez Jr. He says he feels he can out-jab Danny Jacobs. He tries with a big hook, and he is the man moving forward. Throws out a right hand and drives Jacobs back. Not really any damage so far, but at least Chavez able to move forward and impose his will. And there's no question, fellas, they love him. Listen to this. Chant is there. This place is nearly packed, if not packed completely. and they're here to see Chavez Jr.
It's incredible. Over 10,000 people here to see Chavez Jr., no matter how undisciplined, unreliable, a lot of things that we question about Chavez Jr., but the people love him.
Yeah, he continues to be propped up by his popularity. You know, he certainly hasn't done enough to kind of warrant these types of opportunities continuing to be thrown his way.
Body shot. Yeah, Chavez trying the body shot. He looks calm and confident here in round number 1. We're halfway through the first round.
Jacobs doesn't want to get hit with those body shots, and it's too early to be hit like that.
I'll tell you, again, we're very early, but right now we're looking at a composed Chavez Jr.
And potentially a cruiserweight Chavez Jr. I mean, he looks huge in there.
Jumping up to 200 pounds.
I mean, the size difference is incredible right now. Jacobs needs to concentrate on staying off the ropes and concentrating on speed.
Well, again, Danny Jacobs had the option. Gabe Rosado was on this fight card as a fallback position, and Jacobs would have been, Chris, you correct me if I'm wrong, well within his rights to say, wait a second, you're 5 pounds over and I'm making weight? No, sir. But he stayed with it, which might tell you something about what he thinks of Chavez Jr. or the fact that he wanted to be part of this promotion and make it this big.
I think all those things are certainly true. I do think what else is true is that Jacobs knows he's in line for a big fight next year against a Callum Smith or a Billy Joe Saunders, and I think part of him did want to test himself against a real super middleweight. Gabe Rosado is not a real super middleweight.
And not only that, Rosado is not a former champion. You always want that champion on your resume, and Chavez Jr. is a former champion.
Body shot there by Jacobs as he begins to land in the final minute. Right hand to the body as well. Jacobs starts to get a little bit of rhythm. Right hand and a hook by Chavez as he comes in, and Jacobs on his bike, and a decent first round here for Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Warmed up a little bit towards the end, all right? He's bigger than you. Yeah. He's a cruiserweight right now. Right. Okay, I need you to use your stick, step over, step over. That's all you gotta do. Okay. And that'll create your combination.
You got that round?
Yes. Back, listen, don't worry about the round. Step, step. When you jab, jab, let that right hand go to the body. Yes, all right, we're gonna break them down.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you got it, you got it. Overhand right, okay? Back him up with the jab, overhand right, okay? Nice combination. Good job. Good job.
Daniel Jacobs asking his cornermen, did I win the round? They said, don't worry about the round.
Back up just a little bit, brother.
But backing up what Sergio Mora just said, yeah, you're fighting a cruiserweight in there. And Chavez Jr. able to have some success. Did you give him that first round, Chris?
I gave Chavez Jr. the first round. I thought he was more active, the aggressor coming forward, landed the cleaner shots.
Whenever you're fighting a bigger opponent, you don't want to fight a big man's fight. You want to fight a smaller fight. Use speed and use fast feet. Use feints. Right now, you got to get out of these early rounds if you're the smaller man, if you're Jacobs.
Jacobs saying that you're going to see me at my best. He said, I just have not been the same guy that has been in the gym all these years. I get in on fight night, and I just don't have that same energy that he has just been killing himself to make 160.
There is a flip side to that, though. I mean, we saw someone like Jorge Linares say, I got to go up from 135 to 140. He goes up to 140, and a guy like Pablo Cesar Cano drops him in the first round. So these guys are bigger, stronger. It's a different feeling.
Little 1-2 there by Jacobs, follows up with the right hand. Hey, no question. Same thing we're talking about with Maurice Hooker. That hook just landed by Chavez, just lightly. Jacobs comes back and drives him back. But Maurice Hooker, if you say, hey, go to 147, well, you're going to be fighting some real stars, full-size stars at welterweight. Same thing here where Jacobs goes up, thought he was fighting at 168. Instead, he's fighting at 175. And Sergio, to your point, at the point that he has a few meals and hydrates fully, you're thinking he's about, what, 190-ish?
I would say it's probably more than 190. I would say low 190s. I mean, he looks huge in there. And if I were Jacobs, I'm not going to try to get physical with him at all. I'm going to concentrate on stabbing him to the body with that jab down in the stomach area and try to set him up with something overhand later on in the fight.
And Jacobs is a 15-1 favorite in this fight.
One thing to remember, too, about Chavez's weight is that he did weigh 172.7, but he had to work to get to 172.7. He even weighed heavier during the week.
And the crowd really just erupts at any type of success for Chavez. That jab landed by Jacobs straight up the middle. And it's not supposed to influence the judging, but it's just human nature, it does.
Stop, back up, back up.
Got 3 first-round knockouts here tonight, then followed by an absolute war for the WBC flyweight title. Julio Cesar Martinez outgunning Christopher Rosales in a fantastic fight. I'm still coming down from that. And now the main event, where we've had a bit of an early surprise here through 2 rounds with very game Chavez Jr. Able to make a miss, slipping the jab.
That's one thing that Chavez and Chavez Jr. have. They have a strong back. They're like Joe Frazier in there. They're always moving up their upper body.
That's good defense, Sergio, no question.
Good head movement, good defense.
Now he's not throwing off the head movement. Smoking Joe would land something. But Chavez able to make a miss and making all those shots come clean.
Still a lot of mental pressure being put on Daniel Jacobs.
Another decent round by Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. That's Julio's wife, Frida. She looks very tense, but that's a good opening 2 rounds. See Dino Duva there in the background.
Yeah, we're gonna be over in right, body shots. Uppercut. Go to the uppercut and the hook, okay? Fix it, all right? We don't know what to do right now, all right? But I don't need, well, don't make it close. Don't make it close for the fans, all right? Okay.
You don't ain't nothing that
I know, but don't make it close for the fans, all right? All right, listen, and when you grab them, what we do? Turn. Yes, sir.
All right, check it out, guys.
I got it.
Well, Jacobs has been so confident, Sergio, through this entire promotion. And now he's actually fighting the guy. And wait a second, it's not so easy.
No,
what do you
not.
think?
And he's actually questioning himself a little bit, but he asked his trainer if they won that round. And Farid Samad said, yes, we did. But don't worry about that right now. We got a long way to go.
Chris Maddox giving Danny Jacobs that 2nd round.
Got your feet in there.
You didn't want to shade that, Chris?
I thought Jacobs did enough to win that round. I like the head movement of Chavez. He tries to land that clubbing right hand, but I thought Jacobs was more accurate.
Both of those missing. Little body work there by Jacobs. Again, the crowd reacts very strongly, even with the missed shots. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in the blue trunks with the blue hair. Danny Jacobs in the white trunks.
See, in quiet moments like this, a simple jab would dictate the pace. That's what happened in that 2nd round. It was a close round, but I gave it to Jacobs as well, Chris, because it just seemed like he was in control a little bit more, and he landed some good body shots.
Yeah, the fight that Chavez doesn't want to get in with Jacobs is just a jab fest. There's a belief that Chavez has the stronger jab, but Jacobs, he has the better one. They don't want to get into an outside fight where Jacobs is landing shots like that.
Jacobs doesn't have the stronger jab, but he has a smarter and faster jab.
2 shots landed to the body. Those are scoring blows. Right hand lands from Chavez. Decent shot right there.
Jacobs doing the right thing by smothering the bigger Chavez Jr. there.
And lands an uppercut on the way out.
I'm not used to seeing Jacobs smother because he's usually the big man initiating the pain with the size.
Well, listen, he comes off a fight where the judges thought it was close. They had it 8-4 and 7-5 twice against Canelo Alvarez. Chris, at the time, I thought Canelo was winning rounds going away, and Jacobs really didn't get into a great rhythm and dominate any stretch in that fight. So he actually does have something a little to prove tonight.
No question. He is fighting a guy that's going to be there to be hit, that's coming forward, but Jacobs is going to have to show that he can land these types of shots against a bigger fighter.
Right hand buzzes by the tower. Jacobs now goes to work.
Work out of there. Work out.
Sergio, if you're Danny Jacobs or in his corner, what are you telling him?
Exactly what he's doing right there. He doesn't want to exchange punches with the bigger man. Keep it at 1s and 2s at the end of the jab and always counter the body. He's doing the right thing. I think Jacobs having a good round here as well.
Doubling up on the jab again. Final 30 seconds of round 3.
And keeping the fight in the middle of the ring. Stay off the ropes. There we go. That's what you want to see if you're Jacobs. Just when Chavez wanted to get it back, he didn't give him nothing.
Giving the judges something to think about after the combinations land. Pushes him back, but landed that shot. And Jacobs believes he did enough to win that round.
Deep breath, deep breath, deep breath. Another round in the bag. Chill out, chill. Another round in the bag. Spit this out. Spit this out. Spit that out. Gargle, spit it out. Another round in the bag. Take your time. Spit it out. Good. All right. That got blood in it. All right. You ain't swallowing your own blood. Good. Listen to me. In the inside, I need you to be aggressive when you hold. Yes, you hold in and you're kind of passive. I need grab, turn. All right. Don't just you know, because he's going to punch. Yes, that's the only time he gets jabs. The jab is good. But you start using them to the shoulders and the chest. Yes, sir. You ain't got to hit them all the time.
This is what we're going to see all night, Brian. We're going to see Jacobs touch him upstairs just to land the body shots. That's been the game plan. Land the hard body shots, invest in the body early, slow down the bigger man. And at the end of the round, when the bigger man wants to come and get it back, extinguish it by holding. That's how you beat a bigger, stronger fighter.
Round number 4. The thing is, you just have to make sure you're winning these rounds. And Jacobs, seemingly in that last round, did enough. Kosmatic says yes. Seemed like he did enough there to land those scoring shots, not absorb enough. You can't leave it in the hands of the judges, at least not if you're not dominating the rounds, because again, the crowd noise can affect scoring.
Yeah, and you heard Jacobs' corner say that after the second round. Don't let the fans influence this fight. And I thought Jacobs did a terrific job of making it a clear win in that third round.
Jacobs now moving forward, doubling up on the jab. Chavez Jr. a bit more of a stationary target.
And that's going to be a game plan for Jacobs. He can't just keep moving back with the smaller man. He's going to have to back up the bigger man because Chavez Jr. doesn't fight while going backwards. He seems lost if he's not going forward.
And a little more murmuring from the crowd now as Chavez is really just not throwing his shots.
Don't hold him in there, don't hold him.
One thing to remember too, Chavez has fought exactly 1 round since fighting Canelo Alvarez in May of 2017. So he is certainly not going to be at his sharpest in this fight.
He knocked out Everett Bravo, an unheralded fighter in the first round back in August. That ended the 2-year layoff, but you're right, 1 round in 2.5 years. Oh, hook there, smacking off the head from Jacobs, and now he goes body and then head with the jab. Final half of round 4, Lauren Gardner has a report. Lauren?
Yeah, and the Jacobs corner's trainer Fareed Samad was very persistent in telling his fighter to be more aggressive, to use the jab more. He said it took him a few rounds to warm up. He has to work on neutralizing that size disparity, but he said watch out, 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds, they're about to turn it up.
Back up.
All right, Lauren, thank you. And I'm looking Sergio as well. If you're Freddie Roach, you got to start throwing your hands. You've got jab, do something.
No, I could see the game plan by Fareed Samad and Jacobs' corner. Get out of these early rounds where size is going to be a factor. I love the way Daniel Jacobs fought against the ropes right there. He looks like he's finally getting fluid.
Jacobs there throwing the jab again, landing, and now just light shots, but those are scoring shots, landing in scoring areas. Chavez was complaining about getting turned around by Jacobs. Yeah, Jacobs has showed some patience, but you've got to make sure you're winning rounds. Danny Jacobs able to land some body work. Chavez weighs in, throwing hooks. But Chavez Jr. moving a little slower now, and it's only round 4.
That's where that extra weight is a detriment for the bigger fighter. And that's where speed and agility come into play for Jacobs.
Jacobs' hands are just faster. Chavez, though, beginning to throw, and Jacobs wants to go.
I want you to spit this out. All right, listen to me. Listen to me. You don't need to steal a round when you won a round. Yes, sir. All right? So listen, don't get no big ball. You just do what you do. He's going to come forward.
You got to keep the punches up and don't hold on the inside.
You got to keep holding, you know what I'm saying? And keep touching them hips. But you got to turn him. Turn him aggressively. Turn him aggressively. All right? He bitches.
Right.
Stay with the jab. All right? Don't turn on southpaw. You don't need to.
Yes, sir.
All right? Stay with the jab. Listen. Don't worry about the fast combination. Throw too hard with it. Big thing.
Here we see Jacobs punching with speed, which is the way you got to do it with the heavier puncher in Chavez. That's the shot that really caught his attention, that overhand right. But it was speed that set that punch up.
And in Jacobs' corner, you heard Farid Samad say you don't need to steal a round when you've won the round. Seems like he was doing both in round 4.
I never heard that line. I love that line.
Chris Mannix giving the last 3 rounds to Daniel Jacobs. Chavez Jr. again, the output slowing down.
In some ways, Brian, that is typical of Julio Cesar Chavez. He is consistently, even at his best, outlanded and outthrown by his opponents.
Chavez Jr. keeps complaining to the referee in that last round and this round with the headbutt. I don't like that. See, great fighters don't complain. They just get it back.
Steve Smoger is standing by. Steve, what do you have?
100% correct. He's looking for an edge. The referee should, rightly so, just ignore him. Just ignore him.
Don't pull him back in the head.
And I know what you're saying. Steve, thank you. Sergio, I know what you're saying. If you're looking to the ref, you got to focus on the fight. Where's your fight? Take care of it yourself. Jacobs still popping out a jab, starting to get a better rhythm. Landing, scoring shots to the body, coming back with the jab to the head. You know, Farid Samad very vocal in the corner. Let's try to listen in. Let's hear what he has to say.
Eddie, stop. Jab. Double it, double it, double it, double it.
Oh, there's a hard right hand from Chavez.
Grab him, grab him.
Samad saying, grab on, hold on. Chavez now smells it. This could be his big chance.
In Jacobs' corner, they keep saying 2 things. Smother him and turn him.
Hard right hand again, partially blocked. But Chavez now starting to impose his will. A little bit of success for Chavez Jr. in round 5.
When the trainer's saying turn him, he's meaning fight at an angle. Do not fight flat-footed with him. Stay pick left or right. Don't stand in front of him.
Uppercut there by Jacobs. Again, Samad first fight with Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs splitting with Andre Rozier, his longtime trainer. Little blood over the left eye of Chavez Jr. Abrasion or cut. A little blood coming from his nose as well.
Jacobs landed a nice right hand. It was a combination that ended with a right hand going down, and it stopped the punching of Chavez Jr. That might have caught his attention.
Uppercut again by Jacobs, and a right hand just pawed at him, and then he looks at his own arm. And now he unleashes a little combination to take with him. Blood on the face of Chavez Jr. here in the 5th round. Well, Chavez Sr. upset with what he's seen.
I tell you, it sounds like
saying?
It sounds
He's waving
like,
over the referee.
I think he broke his hand. I think that's what he's saying. I broke my hand.
The referee was standing in the middle of the ring. Les Belton was not coming over to check on Chavez Jr. This is over. Exactly. Waving over, and he's done. Les Belton asked, do you want to continue? The answer is no.
That's the 2nd time that Chavez Jr. retires in the corner. He did it against Fonfara, claiming a knee injury, and he's doing it again tonight, saying it was a hand injury.
But the facial.
And Danny Jacobs is there saying, hey, don't blame me. He stopped.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Respect. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Both fights where Chavez Jr. has been stopped, he stopped it himself, telling his corner that he's hurt and can't continue.
You see Jacobs there apologizing for the headbutt. Chavez went to the corner. He didn't sit down, Freddie Roach was standing up. They had the explanation, and we're not sure exactly what. Chris, you thought he heard him saying about his hand?
And look, the fans now are throwing things into the ring in the direction of Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Immense disappointment. Julio Cesar Chavez himself, yeah, stuff is flying over our heads as well, coming in from the crowd. I don't know, are they upset that he quit? Are they upset with the referee? Because the referee did not want to stop the fight.
No, I think they're upset that he quit.
They're upset that he quit. He resigned, he gave up, whatever you want to say. That's what they're upset of, because a Mexican warrior fights till the end, and that's the second time he resigned in the corner on his own.
And now what do they expect when they come to his fights? They might get something, but again, we know the track record, we know what happened. Things are being thrown into the ring. It's not especially dangerous now, it's just a bit of a mess. Couple of knuckleheads in the crowd throwing things in there. Hey, you know what? You know, expect it. What if the guy ended up, and he did break his hand? You're gonna blame him for that? I know what you're saying. He retired, right? He doesn't want to continue to fight. But if his hand is broken, if there's a fracture, well, what do you want from him? Well, we don't know just yet.
Well, he has a proven track record of a lot of things, and
no doubt.
Fonfara stopped him, and it was a knee injury that he claimed. This time it's a hand injury. Yes, give him the benefit of the doubt, but that's the second time that he doesn't want to continue a fight while hurt.
That's Mickey Rourke in the corner now, coming in as it gets more surreal. Big crowd, you see some of the sodas being thrown into the ring.
The contest is over. Chavez.
Let's see this right hand from Chavez Jr. Oh, there's the right hand landed flush on the face of Jacobs. And that may have opened up the cut as well. Again, Chris Mannix thought he heard Chavez talking about his hand. I don't know what it was. We haven't heard definitively yet. But there's no question that the impetus came from Julio Jr. He was the one doing the talking in the corner. There's his dad, the Hall of Famer. Obviously disappointed.
And disappointed because that man wouldn't quit like that. That's disgust in the face of that man right there, of Chavez.
Yeah, that's
you
really,
fight till the end.
Now you're right, Sergio. It's a shame to even say, but he's disgusted with it. Things are being thrown around us. It's a bit of a mess here. They're trying to shield the fighters in the ring. Look at Danny Jacobs went up in triumph. He fought his fight, and he's saying, wait a second, don't blame me. That came from him. Now, Chris Mannix is, if he's not in the ring, he's getting in there, and we'll get word at some point to see just what it was. We can ask him as well. Maybe we can ask Freddie as well. Freddie, what was it? Hand? What was it? He couldn't breathe? Freddie Roach is saying what? He couldn't breathe? Did he have his nose broken?
Freddie's saying that he broke his nose and couldn't breathe. Chavez Jr. saying that it was his hand. I'm telling you, he didn't want to continue because he... Oh, wow.
Well, I just got pelted. I'm all right.
You okay, Brian?
Yeah, I'm fine. Well, Michael Buffer has left the ring. I just got nailed in the head with something.
Wow.
But just what a shame. I mean, it's obvious what happened, Sergio, and you're being blunt about it, and you're being right. He quit, right? And when I asked Freddie Roach, hey, what happened there? Was it his hand? Was it his nose? And he's saying, hey, it's kind of my hand. Other stuff is flying over us.
You watch my back, I'll watch yours, because
good.
that's ridiculous that you got hit with something right now. This is ridiculous. People throwing stuff in the ring.
You know, and you're right. Look, you show respect to a fighter. Chavez was in there having reasonable success, a little more than we expected. But then for him to quit like that, sure, it's disappointing. But how outraged can you be? I mean, given the track record, what did they really expect? Did they expect him to go to war for 12 rounds?
That's the Mexican bravado. That's the passion of all these fans. That's why they're upset. They'd rather have a fighter like Chavez go out on his back than quit on his stool. Well, and that's the reason they're throwing stuff.
Well, sure. I understand it, and yet it's still just an outrageous response by this crowd who just feel like they can do what they want. They came in, they were excited to see their man, but that's the way it works. And Chavez Jr. comes in overweight, wouldn't take the drug test. That's why it's in Phoenix in the first place. At any rate, Chris Mannix is in the ring with Daniel Jacobs. Go ahead, Chris.
Daniel, congratulations. Obviously, this crowd is upset, but has nothing to do with you and nothing to do with your performance. So let's talk about that. Your debut at 168 pounds.
How did you feel out there?
Well, to me, it necessarily wasn't my debut at super middleweight because this is so disrespectful, man. To me, he was a cruiserweight. Even his jab was heavy. His whole body, physically, he was a bigger man, and it showed. You know, I tried my best to be elusive and box, but he was heavy, and I tried my best to counter him with good shots, and slowly but surely I got my counter punches in there, and he quit on the stool. And they won't let me enjoy my victory, baby.
I know, you deserve it. You deserve it.
I'm from Brownsville. I never win, and I never will, but I'm going to duck these bear cans.
I got you. It looked like it took you a couple of rounds to get used to the size difference.
Yes,
the pressure, it seemed like it took you some time to get used to. How long did it take?
It took about 2-3 rounds, honestly, because I didn't know what he had left, if he was hiding something under his sleeve or if he was going to come with a barrage. But I just wanted to get acclimated to the punches. This is my first time fighting this is the biggest opponent I've ever had in my career. So I wanted to make sure that I can take the punches, I can bang if I needed to bang, box and brawl when I needed to brawl. But I knew it was a matter of time before he got tired. I tried to make my investments to the body. We was working on certain loops to the body because we see he was susceptible to that. But for now, I'm just comfortable with the victory. Obviously, they won't let me enjoy it. I know they're not mad at me, they're mad at Chavez, but I did my part.
There are certainly opportunities for you to get into big fights quickly at 168. Do you leave this fight thinking, I'm ready for those big names like Callum Smith, like Billy Joe Saunders, or do you need more time to adjust to the weight class?
Well, I didn't necessarily fight a super middleweight. I fought a cruiserweight, so it's really hard to tell. I want to move forward and prove that I'm the best. I felt great. Obviously, his punches was a lot because he was a bigger guy. So it just was a matter of getting acclimated, but I do feel like I want to move and step up in the right direction.
Does that mean a world title fight for you next year?
Exactly. That's exactly what that means. I want to fight the biggest names in the division. I want to fight them all. I honestly want Jamal Charlo, and I want a Triple G rematch. But if I can't get that, then I'll settle for the super middleweight division, getting comfortable here. There's Callum Smith, there's Billy Joe Saunders, and a bunch of other champions. So, but most importantly, I dedicate this fight to my friend Patrick Day. He was a special dear friend of mine. I love him very dearly. This was a tribute to him. I hope I did him very well. I did him proud. I know his family and everyone is watching back home in New York and Long Island. I just want to say I love you guys and I appreciate you guys. I'm going to donate the robe that I had and these gloves tonight to his family. And I just want to say he was an angel, and this was for you, Patrick. I love you, brother.
Congratulations, Danny.
Thank you very much.